The chairman stated this is our 30th hearing on this topic. I've had multiple individual meetings with passionate supporters of the deal and folks that are very concerned with the deal. And individuals have asked me, how come you haven't taken a position? Because this is a very important negotiation, and it is a very important crossroads. And there are both merits to this deal, and there are shortcomings to the deal. And it is incredibly important, I think, as Admiral Fallon has pointed out. We do have to think about how we move forward, though, in terms of a very unstable region. The goal of this negotiation was to reduce or eliminate Iran's nuclear threat. As Secretary Kerry's pointed out, as multiple folks have pointed out, both in classified and unclassified settings, at a minimum, it does reduce the threat for 15 years. And where, in this hearing, it's been pointed out, Iran is fairly close to being a threshold state at this juncture, if they're not already a threshold state. So I think that's a goal that has been achieved. Goal number 2, is there enough in this verification regime? I think as Secretary Moniz, both personally to me as well as in this committee, has indicated, he is satisfied on the nuclear issue that there is enough in the verification regime that if Iran does cheat on the nuclear issue, that they will get caught. Goal number 3, and a concern of mine was, is there immediate sanctions relief? Is there a signing bonus? Again, as Secretary Liu has pointed out, both in this committee and privately, there is no immediate sanctions relief. There is no trust in this. There has to be verification. Iran has to meet its portion of the deal before there is any sanction relief. So those are some of the positives that are in here. Now the concerns. Concern number 1, I don't trust Iran. I expect that the Iranians will cheat, and they will likely cheat on the margins to test our resolve. And at this juncture, I think it's incredibly important that both the United States and our allies have that resolve, that when they do cheat, we immediately hit them and send them a strong message. Whether that's, it may not be full sanctions being implemented, but that we send a message that that is not an acceptable behavior. As Ranking Member Engel pointed out in his testimony, look, at this juncture, let's be pragmatic. The deal is likely to move forward. So let's make sure we as a body do what we have to do to make sure that we take the deal that is present and we send a strong message. Concern number 2, Iran has not been a responsible nation. In fact, I think everyone on the panel, as well as all the members of this committee, understand Iran has been an actor to destabilize the region. That is not what this deal was about in terms of sanctions against Hezbollah and others. But we have to, I think most of us expect as Iran's economy improves, they likely will continue to fund these terrorist organizations and maybe increase funding. We, as Congress, as well as the administration, have to do everything in our power to reassure our allies, particularly Israel, to make sure that they have what they need to counteract what potentially is increased destabilization, increased funding to Hezbollah, et cetera. Concern number 3 is also making sure that we take advantage of these 15 years. Even folks that are against the deal understand that it does reduce the nuclear threat. We must put ourselves in a better position 15 years from now should Iran pursue nuclear ambitions, that if we have to intervene militarily, if we have to intervene in other ways, that we are in a better position to do so. Admiral Fallon, I'll ask a quick question because I'm running out of time. I think we all agree that Iran has destabilized the region. What would you suggest that we do, both as Congress as well as the administration, to work with our allies to mitigate potentially what is increased destabilization?
Well, one of the things that we've tried as a nation, and certainly our diplomats and commanders in this region that I think would be most helpful, would be to try to convince our allies in the area to work together, to cooperate with one another, to have capability that could be united in the event that Iran backtracks on these things. It's been a very, very difficult challenge. They each have their own interests, their priorities, and so forth, and it's kind of fragmented their reactions to Iran to date. They wring their hands, want help, but they've got to help themselves. And one of the key points here for me, in my experience, is the idea that we're going to go over there and straighten this all out, we're going to fix all this, and they're going to fix these countries is nonsense. They're going to have to fix it.
Admiral Fallon.
We just have to help.
Thank you, Dr. Bera.
Background.
Great.
Mr. Brooks of Alabama.